Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess the honeymoon phase is over between Mamdani and Trump, as Mamdani's office just put out a statement encouraging and instructing people to essentially evade ICE and avoid deportation. No sooner did I upload my last video about a Somalian openly bragging about taking US taxpayer dollars and funding a militia in Somalia, a video which you guys should definitely check out after this one, did Zohran Mamdani take the bold stance of going directly against Trump's deportation agenda in New York City before taking office. Check it out. This was posted 1 hour ago to his personal X account, and he titled it, "Know Your Rights, Protect Your Neighbors," essentially saying, help your neighbors that are here illegally evade being deported. And he says New York is and always will be a city for all immigrants. Now, if you notice here, he's got the captions in both English and in Spanish to make sure that the people that are in New York City illegally can read this. And he essentially gives specific instructions on how to avoid being deported. Check it out.
Last weekend, ICE attempted to raid Canal Street and detain our immigrant neighbors. As mayor, I'll protect the rights of every single New Yorker, and that includes the more than 3 million immigrants who call this city their home. But we can all stand up to ICE if you know your rights. If you encounter ICE, these are the things that every New Yorker should know. First, ICE cannot enter into private spaces like your home, school, or a private area of your workplace without a judicial warrant signed by a judge. That looks like this. If ICE does not have a judicial warrant signed by a judge, you have the right to say, "I do not consent to entry," and the right to keep your door closed. Sometimes ICE will show you paperwork that looks like this and tell you that they have the right to arrest you. That is false. ICE is legally allowed to lie to you, but you have the right to remain silent. If you're being detained, you may always ask, "Am I free to go?" repeatedly until they answer you. You are legally allowed to film ICE as long as you do not interfere with an arrest. It is important to remain calm during any interaction with ICE or law enforcement. Do not impede their investigation, resist arrest, or run. One last thing. New Yorkers have a constitutional right to protest, and when I'm mayor, we will protect that right. New York will always welcome immigrants, and I will fight each and every day to protect, support, and celebrate our immigrant brothers and sisters.
Now get this. This is the statement that he put out after ICE was assaulted and they were hurling trash cans at them after they descended in New York City just days ago. And this all relates to the fact that New York City is harboring over 7,169 known illegals in their jails, and they're refusing to hand them over to ICE detainers. So they've requested that these people be handed over and deported because they're sitting in New York City jail cells right now, and they're set to be released back on the street, despite the fact that it is known they should not be in this country, right? Well, they're refusing to hand them over, so ICE is descending into New York City, and this is what happened. They were attacked, assaulted, had trash cans thrown at them, everything under the sun.
Or these other sanctuary streets to re-perpetuate their crimes. Today, in New York City's jails are 7,169 criminal illegal aliens. We're talking about hundreds of murderers, hundreds of sexual predators, drug traffickers, the worst of the worst. Dan Goldman and these other sanctuary city politicians, they should agree to hand over those individuals, honor those detainers, and then we won't have to flood the zone with our ICE law enforcement. We won't have to put those men and women on the ground because we will get these vicious criminals out of New York City's jails.
So just imagine how egregious it is for Mamdani to put out that statement directly following these protesters descending on NYPD officers and causing absolute mayhem and assaulting them. This is a statement that he wants to put out, not condemning their actions and saying we're going to uphold the law and we're going to uphold law enforcement, but encouraging people to do more things like this. If you listen closely, at the end of his statement, he said, remember, New Yorkers have a constitutional right to protest, and when I'm mayor, I will protect that right. What is he basically saying? I mean, it's a backdoor way of saying that I encourage what you're doing. I greenlight you to assault ICE officers. And if anything happens to you where you get detained or arrested, I'm going to make sure that you get away with it. I mean, this is exactly what you would expect from a communist defund the police. Let's get rid of the anti-riot division of NYPD politician. This is exactly what you would expect, and it's only going to get worse. Now, I don't want my message to get misconstrued here. I believe people have the right to protest, even if they're against the Trump agenda. Sure, you have the right to protest and peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard, but that is not what is happening here. We have people impeding enforcement. We have people surrounding officers, assaulting officers, interfering with federal operations, and that is not your constitutional right. You would think that Mamdani would condemn those actions at the very least, but he doesn't. Because he can't, because that is exactly the people that elected him. And perhaps the other reason why Mamdani is so against law enforcement and enables these kinds of violent actions is because he's afraid of getting deported himself. I don't know if you guys saw this, but back in the day, Newsmax covered the fact that his naturalization and citizenship is absolutely questionable, and he could be denaturalized and deported if he was ever investigated. Take a look.
Our next guest, Zoran Mamdani, never bothered to fill out the Select Service form, which is a federal crime. And he may not even be eligible for the citizenship that he has as a result of that, well, failure to comply. David Civella is a former Democratic congressional and Senate staffer and an all-round genius, in my opinion, great researcher. David, welcome. And this is pretty astounding stuff that you found. Congratulations.
Hi, Greg. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So you heard what I said there, but you're the expert. What happened? When did it happen? And how much trouble is Zoran Mamdani in?
Well, the question is really, what did Zoran Mamdani tell immigration when he applied for citizenship in 2018 or late 2017? Because you're supposed to have 5 years of good moral conduct in order to be eligible for citizenship naturalization. And one of those things has to be abiding by the laws of the United States and the municipality and the state you live in. Apparently, Zoran Mamdani did not abide by the laws of the United States in not registering for selective service until just before he applied for citizenship. The date exactly was January 17th, 2017. He became a citizen 1 year later in 2018. And he became an elected official in 2020 when he won an assembly seat in New York.
So by law, as a show of good moral character, he was supposed to apply and register for selective service before being naturalized, and he didn't do that until the very last second, which throws his naturalization and citizenship into question. Now, I say that to get to my next point, that with this video that he's put out today, I believe the Trump administration should now come down hard on Mamdani. Trump said before Mamdani got elected that if he pulled any of his communist crap, that he wasn't going to support New York City with federal funding. He said he was only going to give the minimal legally required amount if Mamdani got elected and started trying to turn New York City into a communist hellhole. And I think even before the man takes office, it's very clear that that's exactly what he's going to do. And this statement is a direct attack against federal law enforcement, ICE agents, and Trump's agenda to deport all illegals, clean up the streets of New York City and the rest of the country. And Mamdani is telling us clear as day that he's not going to be playing ball with the Trump agenda. He's going to do everything that he can in his power to interfere and impede federal law enforcement. And so I think it's time to take the gloves off and immediately condemn his actions and let him know real quick that the federal funds can and will be pulled if he decides to pull any more stunts. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. And if you missed the video I posted just before this one, I'll leave a card for it right here. You don't want to miss that video. We have a Somalian openly admitting to using U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund a Somali militia. Check it out. Click here. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.